The final score, Middlesbrough 1, Wrexham 1. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC. That was another example of us going to one of the big teams in the Championship and showing that we're perfectly capable of competing on equal terms. This was a terrific masterclass in how to play in the mid-block. Absolutely terrific. Having not made many chances throughout the game, it was impressive, very impressive from Wrexham, despite the disruption of losing Lewis Brum to injury after just 22 minutes. And yeah, we were unlucky not to hold out in the end. I say hold out, I'm reluctant to use that phrase, because this was more a case of just being extremely structured when we didn't have the ball. We didn't have to defend too deep for too long, and we looked really good going up the other end as well. So, yeah, we go to Middlesbrough, who are second in the table, and we were immediately looking to pose them problems. An early chance comes, a really nice move opened up when George Dobson whips in a switch from right to left. Thomason and Longman combine on the left. Longman cuts inside and then tries to pull his shot inside the near post to catch the keeper out. Sol Bryn's a good keeper though, and he gets across and acrobatically manages to push the ball along the post for a corner. But the corner leads to us taking a 7th minute lead. It's a short corner which really catches Middlesbrough out. James to Thomason to Windass, and I just think maybe this is one of the great advantages of Josh Windass. He's quite a long way, he's quite deep, he's a good 40 yards out from goal when the corner's taken, but he's got one heck of a strike on him, and he'll back himself to hit the ball from distance, so he's not being picked up. He looks almost in one of those half and half positions to cover a breakaway, so he's not being marked, and then he comes forwards, takes a progressive touch to get him within range, drills in a powerful shot which is on target, and Fry, the centre-back, makes a rather awkward movement to try and block it and deflects it into the top corner. Really nicely worked, and when you look at the replay from behind the opposite goal, you realise that we haven't really blocked the Middlesbrough players off to stop them getting out to Windass. We've just been really cute and had Windass so far out that nobody's going to really worry about him. And bingo, we are ahead. And we look pretty comfortable in that lead in the first half. Like I said, that mid-block was so well organised. The defence don't have to drop too deep. The midfield are almost impenetrable. And the pattern of the first half is Middlesbrough passing the ball square in front of us. They've gone with a 4-2-3-1, which they favoured in recent weeks, and their manager had said was about playing with the handbrake off and getting a fourth player into attacking positions. But we were happy with this because that fourth player, Sverre Nipan, who's a Man City loanee wonder kid, was anonymous. He was just running into an already crowded area. He was going exactly where we wanted him to go. And so they just couldn't really get through. Their wide attackers, who were both inverted, were both coming into that narrow area. And yeah, we loved it. We just loved it. Just bring it on. We soaked it all up so beautifully. And yeah, they didn't make many chances. They got a free kick after a quarter of an hour, and Hackney, who was head and shoulders their best player, put the ball over the bar. Then we suffered a problem with Brunt's injury, which I mentioned earlier. It's an innocuous one. He just goes up, steps up to the halfway line because Callum Britton's got a little bit of space. He doesn't want to let him turn, and he just snaps into a bit of a challenge, and he's torn something in his thigh, it sounds like, so he's going to be out for quite a while. That's a real blow, especially as this is the first of 3 games suspension for Callum Doyle as well. So our central defensive resources, with Aaron James already out long term, are going to be really stretched now. It's a real blow for us. But in this game, we continued to look good. Nice spell of pressure from Middlesbrough. So Whittaker beat Longman, cutting inside and squared it, but Morris hit it over from 18 yards, and he was closed down quick. Well, not a bit more than 18 yards, 20 to 25, and we closed him down quickly. He couldn't see much of the goal when he hit it. And then the last really notable chance of the half, which came after half an hour, but shows just how much we'd controlled it, actually fell to us and was a better chance than either of Middlesbrough's. it was inside the box for a start. It was a lovely move again. Wrexham really opening things up. Thomason made a great run left to right into the box. Windass receives it deep on the right, spots him, feeds it in nicely. Thomason tries to turn it inside. It is blocked by Matt Targett, but falls kindly for Windass, who's fouled his pass into the box, and he drills in a shot from 15 yards, which again, Fry is the player getting a touch to. This time he manages to deflect it just over the bar. But the Middlesbrough fans, and like I said, they're second in the league, so you assume they're going to be pretty happy with how things are going, are getting increasingly impatient, increasingly fractious as this pattern of play continues, and Wrexham are causing issues. And Middlesbrough just aren't laying a glove on us. So Conco has a lovely quiet time of it in the first half. And, well, you can see that the half didn't go their way, because at the break, Middlesbrough, Rob Edwards, their manager, makes 4 changes to shake things up. He changes their shape as well. They go 3 at the back. They're looking to be a lot more direct. I don't mean launching it long. They're not launching it long, but there's a lot more direct running and movement, and there's a lot more attempts to pass the ball forwards early into the channels and just try and stretch us and not let us settle into our defensive shape. And they do look more threatening, no question about that. And we do have to defend more in terms of defending our penalty area more in the second half, but we still do well and still have a threat up the other end. It takes a while for them to settle in, really, as well, to the new shape, and it's just after the hour that they finally have an opportunity. Hackney with a wonderful ball from the right-hand side into the right channel, and Conway, who made a big difference after he came on, just with his direct running and his willingness to dribble, running into that space, has got a decent half chance. Takes it first time, which I think is understandable, trying to snap it in before defenders converge. But the pass just slightly lacked pace, and as a result, he has to wait for it a little bit, dig out the shot, and Conco's got his angles right, saves it comfortably. A couple of minutes later, Wrexham freshen things up. Windass is carrying a knock, he comes off. Nathan Broadhead comes on. Thomason is still gaining match fitness, so he's replaced by Lewis O'Brien, and Ryan Longman, who was having a good game, but they were starting to get some joy down that side of the pitch, is replaced by Liberato Cacace. And immediately the substitutes look to have an impact. Wrexham looking lively, and there is a huge opportunity 5 minutes after they come on, which I think if it had been taken would have been 3 points for Wrexham. Cacace does brilliantly, driving between 2 Middlesbrough players and up the left hand side, feeds a good ball out to the left to O'Brien. He sweeps a perfect cross into the far post. Moore, much too easily, just steps off his marker. He's completely unmarked 6 yards out. The cross is perfect, and he puts it against the top of the bar and misses. Oh my words, what an opportunity. His head's in his hand straight away. He knows that's a great chance, and probably 8-9 times out of 10 he'd bury it. Middlesbrough have had a real let-off. They continue to struggle to make chances. So when we get to the 81st minute, Wrexham are still defending superbly. There's always that danger that when you have to defend a lot, something's going to get through, but we are looking very, very good. And the only shot they've had inside the box is that one from Conway, which Okonkwo has saved fairly comfortably. But then comes the equaliser. Corner swept in. Wrexham deal with the initial corner. Britton, who on the right hand side was getting some decent service in the second half, sweeps a great crossover to the far side, and Hackney arrives. Dobson gets to cover the goal first, but Hackney manages to push him out the way to get goal side of him a bit too easily, perhaps, which is just a shame, because Dobson, as always, has poured his heart and soul into a really good performance, and as a result, Hackney has earned himself an easy finish and heads the ball past a completely exposed Okonkwo. We bring on Sam Smith for Kiefer Moore, who again has emptied his tank in the cause, and Smith looks lively up front again, battling away, but there is one more chance, and it falls Middlesbrough's way in the last minute. It's a nice switch from the right hand side by Conway to pick up Luke Ayling in a bit of space on the right corner of the box, and he steps in and hits a curler which looks like it's in, but Okonkwo with a superb top-hand save, leaping to his right and palming it over the crossbar, denies him. Super save by Okonkwo. And to be frank, justice is done because, okay, Middlesbrough had sort of high 60s possession, didn't really make chances. Okonkwo had 2 saves to make, one of which, the one from Conway, I think you'd probably fancy him to make most times. And then that one, which is terrific, admittedly. We weren't really helped, I've got to say, by the ref, who gave some very peculiar decisions throughout. I mean, some of those decisions, to be fair, didn't help Middlesbrough either. But, yeah, 5 yellows we got. Middlesbrough got none. And a lot of Wrexham's yellows you really were surprised by. Not least Lewis O'Brien's, who got a yellow card for trying to stop a free kick from being taken. Firstly, it wasn't a foul. And secondly, it was taken so quickly that O'Brien had no chance to get away from the ball, and he didn't block it. It was played between his legs. Very odd decision. So, yeah, frustration for Wrexham in that regard, but I think a lot of pleasure should be taken from the effort of the team, the performance, and most of all the organisation. We've just gone to a really high quality side. They are pushing for the Premier League, and we have kept them comfortably at arm's length, and that has got to be something to be celebrated. So our first league match ever against Middlesbrough ends Middlesbrough 1, Wrexham 1. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.